Joanna Eberhardt is the bold woman Stepford can never accept. She is not a quiet decoration inside a perfect house. She is a photographer, a mother, a wife, and more than anything, a woman with her own eyes. She notices things. She questions people. She feels the coldness hiding behind polite smiles. In 1975, the Stepford Wives gave us this unforgettable character, and through Joanna, the movie turned a beautiful suburban town into one of cinema's most disturbing nightmares. The story begins with Joanna, played by Katharine Ross, leaving New York City with her husband Walter and their children. On paper, the move looks like a fresh start. Stepford has clean roads, large homes, calm neighbors, and the kind of peaceful silence many families dream about. But Joanna quickly feels that this silence is not peaceful. It is controlled. The women in Stepford are too perfect. Their homes are spotless, their smiles are soft, and their conversations are strangely empty. They talk about cleaning, cooking, shopping, and serving their husbands as if nothing else matters. For Walter, Stepford feels like success. For Joanna, it feels like a warning. She sees that the wives are beautiful, but something human has been removed from them. They do not seem tired. They do not seem angry. They do not seem bored. They do not seem alive in the normal, messy way real people are alive. This is where the movie becomes more than a simple thriller. It becomes a story about identity, control, marriage, and the fear of losing yourself inside someone else's idea of perfection. Katharine Ross as Joanna Eberhardt is the heart of the film. Then, in 1975, she brought quiet strength, nervous intelligence, and emotional honesty to the role. Joanna is not a superhero. She is not fearless. That is what makes her powerful. She is scared, confused, and sometimes unsure, but she still keeps looking for the truth. Before this movie, Katharine Ross was already loved for The Graduate and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. In The Stepford Wives, she gave a performance that made audiences feel the fear of being trapped in a world where everyone tells you nothing is wrong. Now, in 2026, Katharine Ross is remembered as one of the most graceful actresses of her generation. She did not need loud scenes to make an impact. Her face carried suspicion, sadness, and courage at the same time. For fans of classic cinema, Joanna remains one of her most haunting characters because her tragedy is not just physical, it is personal. Stepford does not only want to silence Joanna, it wants to replace her. Next comes Paula Prentiss as Bobby Marco, Joanna's closest friend in Stepford. Bobby is one of the most important characters because she feels real from the moment she appears. She is funny, relaxed, messy, sarcastic, and alive. While the other wives float around like polished dolls, Bobby talks like an actual person. She complains, she jokes, she eats. She notices the same strange things Joanna notices. Their friendship gives the movie warmth before the darkness becomes unbearable. Then, Paula Prentiss made Bobby unforgettable by giving her humor and personality. She was not just a side character, she was Joanna's proof that she was not crazy. When Bobby laughs at Stepford's perfect wives, the audience laughs with her. But later, when Bobby suddenly becomes one of them, the movie delivers one of its most chilling moments. Her smile changes, her voice changes, her house is clean, her spark is gone. The woman who once saw the truth has been erased. Now, Paula Prentiss is still remembered for her tall screen presence, comic timing, and unique charm. In this movie, her transformation is one of the most painful parts of the story. Bobby's before and after is not just a character change, it is a warning. If Stepford can take Bobby, it can take anyone. Peter Masterson plays Walter Eberhardt, Joanna's husband. At first, Walter looks ordinary. He is not presented as a monster in the beginning. He is a man who wants a better house, a calmer life, and a place where he can feel important. But as the story moves forward, his weakness becomes dangerous. He joins the Stepford Men's Association, spends more time away from Joanna, and begins to treat her concerns like problems instead of warnings. Then, Peter Masterson gave Walter a very believable kind of betrayal. He does not need to scream to become frightening. He simply chooses comfort over love. He chooses the fantasy of a perfect wife over the reality of the woman beside him. This is why Walter feels so disturbing. He is not an outside villain attacking the family. He is inside the family, slowly handing Joanna over to the system. Now, Peter Masterson is remembered not only as an actor, but also as a writer, director, and creative figure in theater and film. His role in The Stepford Wives still stands out because Walter represents ordinary selfishness turning into horror. He reminds us that evil can begin with one quiet decision, wanting another person to stop being difficult. Nanette Newman plays Carol Van Sant, one of the first Stepford wives who makes Joanna uneasy. Carol is cheerful, polished, obedient, and strangely empty. Early in the movie, her behavior after a minor accident feels almost robotic. She repeats herself in a way that makes the perfect town suddenly feel unnatural. Carol helps set the tone for everything that follows. Then, Nanette Newman gave Carol a bright, unsettling sweetness. She smiles, but the smile feels too fixed. She speaks softly, but the softness feels programmed. Her character shows the audience what Stepford wants every woman to become. Not a partner, not a friend, not a full human being. A flawless domestic machine. Now, Nanette Newman is remembered for many British films and television roles, but Carol remains one of her most iconic images for horror fans. Her performance is important because she never plays Carol like a loud monster. She plays her like a perfect product, and that makes her scarier. Tina Louise plays Charmaine Wimperis, another woman who enters the story with personality and freedom. Charmaine is glamorous, confident, and independent in her own way. She has interests, opinions, and a life that does not fully revolve around her husband. That is exactly why Stepford cannot allow her to remain herself. Then, Tina Louise, already famous for Gilligan's Island, brought style and energy to Charmaine. At first, Charmaine seems like someone who could resist the town, but after her own change, she becomes another warning sign. Her tennis court, once a symbol of her personal pleasure, is taken away. Her voice becomes soft, her desires disappear. The message is clear. Stepford does not only control women inside kitchens, it controls their dreams. Now, Tina Louise remains a familiar name in classic television and film history. For many viewers, seeing her in the Stepford Wives is surprising because the role is darker than the bright fame she carried from television. Charmaine proves that even glamorous confidence can be destroyed by a society determined to make every woman useful, quiet, and pleasing. Patrick O'Neill plays Dale Koba, also known as Diz, the powerful leader of the Men's Association. He is one of the most sinister figures in the film because he hides his cruelty behind calm intelligence. He does not need to chase Joanna through the streets. He simply waits inside the system he helped build. Then, Patrick O'Neill gave Dale a cold authority. His presence makes every scene feel controlled. He represents the mind behind Stepford, the man who understands the technology, the plan, and the male fantasy at the center of it all. He is polite, but his politeness feels deadly. Now, Patrick O'Neill is remembered as a strong character actor whose work often carried elegance and menace. In the Stepford Wives, Dale is not just a villain, he is the face of organized control. He shows that Stepford is not an accident, it is a project. Joseph Summer plays Ted Van Sant, Carol's husband. Ted may not be the loudest man in the film, but his role matters because he represents the husbands who benefit from the nightmare. He lives with a wife who has been made obedient, and he accepts it. That acceptance is terrifying. Franklin Cover plays Ed Wimperis, Charmaine's husband. Like Ted, Ed helps show how normal the men appear from the outside. These are not monsters with claws. They are suburban husbands, wearing nice clothes, attending meetings, and smiling in public. That is what makes the film so sharp. It turns ordinary respectability into something dangerous. The supporting cast also includes Mary Stuart Masterson in one of her earliest screen appearances, as one of Joanna and Walter's daughters. For then and now fans, this is a special detail because Mary Stuart Masterson later built her own acting career. Her small presence in the film connects this dark 1975 classic to a wider Hollywood family story. As a movie review, The Stepford Wives works because it does not rush its horror. The fear grows slowly. At first, Stepford only feels strange, then it feels uncomfortable, then it feels threatening. By the time Joanna understands what is happening, the trap already feels closed. The bright daylight makes everything worse. The clean kitchens, green lawns, and smiling neighbors do not reduce the horror, they hide it. The movie's central idea is simple but powerful. What if some men did not want real wives at all? What if they wanted perfect copies who never argued, never questioned, never aged emotionally, and never wanted anything for themselves? That idea is what made the Stepford Wives unforgettable. It took the pressure placed on women to be perfect and turned it into a literal nightmare. The final part of the film is still disturbing. Joanna searches for the truth, but every answer leads her closer to danger. Bobby is gone. Walter has betrayed her. The Men's Association knows too much. When Joanna finally faces the fake version of herself, the horror becomes complete. She sees her own face transformed into the thing she feared most, a beautiful, empty replacement. The ending is cold and unforgettable. Joanna appears in the supermarket with the other Stepford wives, perfectly dressed, perfectly calm, and completely gone. There is no big rescue, no heroic victory, no comforting justice. Stepford wins, and that is why the movie stays in the mind. The silence at the end feels louder than any scream. 51 years later, in 2026, the Stepford Wives still matters because its theme has not disappeared. People still talk about perfection, image, marriage, control, and the pressure to perform happiness. The phrase Stepford wife became part of popular culture because it describes something bigger than the film itself. It describes a person who looks perfect on the outside, but feels manufactured on the inside. For then and now audiences, the cast is a major reason the movie remains powerful. Catherine Ross gave us a heroine who feels intelligent and vulnerable. Paula Prentice gave us a friend whose loss hurts. Peter Masterson gave us a husband whose betrayal feels painfully believable. Nanette Newman, Tina Louise, Patrick O'Neill, Joseph Summer, and Franklin Cover helped build a town where every smile feels suspicious. Looking back from 1975 to 2026, the transformation is not only in the actors' faces and careers, it is also in the way we understand the film. Some viewers may have first seen it as a strange thriller. Today, many see it as a warning about identity and power. That is the strength of classic cinema. A movie can age, but its secret can become sharper with time. The Stepford Wives is not remembered because it has the loudest scares. It is remembered because it takes something beautiful and makes it frightening. A perfect home, a perfect marriage, a perfect smile, a perfect wife. The movie asks us to look again and wonder what had to be destroyed to create that perfection. So when we remember the Stepford Wives' 1975 cast, then and now, even after all these long decades of change, we are not only remembering actors from an old movie, we are remembering the people who brought a chilling idea to life. We are remembering Joanna's courage, Bobby's humor, Charmaine's confidence, Carol's empty smile, Walter's betrayal, and Dale's cold control. Together, they created a film that still feels strange, stylish, and deeply uncomfortable after 51 years. Another reason the film feels so strong for a then and now video is the contrast between youth, memory, and legacy. In 1975, the cast looked like people living inside a modern nightmare. Their clothes, homes, hairstyles, and quiet suburban manners all belong to that era. But when we look at them in 2026, we also see how much time has passed. Some actors continued working for decades. Some became connected forever to one unforgettable role. Some are no longer with us. Yet the characters remain frozen in that strange town, still smiling, still watching, still warning new viewers. Joanna's journey is especially emotional because she begins the film with hope. She wants a better life for her family. She wants space to work, raise her children, and maybe become more serious about photography. That makes the betrayal even more painful. Stepford does not attack a woman who hates everyone from the beginning. It attacks a woman who tries to believe things can be better. The town punishes her curiosity, and the movie makes us feel the cost of every question she asks. Bobby's role also gives the film its human center. Without Bobby, Joanna's fear might feel lonely too early. With Bobby, the audience gets friendship, laughter, and a small feeling of safety. When that safety disappears, the story becomes colder. Then and now, Paula Prentice's performance reminds viewers how important supporting characters can be. Sometimes the most painful loss in a movie is not the final victim, but the friend who changes first. The men in the film are also important to discuss, because they are not shown as impressive or heroic. Most of them feel dull, insecure, and ordinary. That is part of the satire. The wives are beautiful, lively, creative women, while the men are often boring men who want control because they cannot handle equality. The movie quietly asks why such ordinary men believe they deserve perfect women. That question is still uncomfortable, and that is why the story keeps finding new audiences. As a classic movie, The Stepford Wives may feel slower than modern thrillers, but that slow pace is part of its identity. It gives the viewer time to feel the town closing in. Every neighborly visit becomes suspicious. Every club meeting feels secret. Every clean living room feels like a crime scene waiting to be understood. The film does not need constant action. Its fear comes from repetition, politeness, and silence. That is why, 51 years later, this cast still deserves attention. They did not just perform a mystery, they helped create a cultural symbol. When people use the word Stepford today, they are often talking about fake perfection, controlled behavior, and empty smiles. That legacy belongs to the story, but it also belongs to the actors who made the nightmare feel real. And maybe that is why the Stepford Wives still works. Because behind every perfect surface, the movie whispers one question: is this happiness? Or has someone simply removed everything real?